You have no idea how long I've looked through my old book, and then I said, wow, I have so many crappy stories. It's true though. And so you might be thinking, wait, there are even worse stories that you have made? Yes, there are even worse stories that I have made. And it's really hard to choose which one is the more presentable one because all of them sucks. Until I discovered this one that I created 3 years ago that somehow it stayed at the back of my book. Like, why did I wrote it in a single paper and then stick it to my book? Why did I do that? Weird though. Well, anyway, the not so new creation of mine, I don't have a name for it. And actually, I didn't even write clearly the content of it. So I was like, wait, what the hell was I writing? Was I writing some gibberish? Until I figured out that, wait a minute. Oh my god, I thought that this didn't exist. So, for your information, I'm an airhead, okay? Sometimes I accidentally created stories without me knowing, and I'm a really forgettable person. So later on, I will be like, wait, I think that I did come up with this idea like a long time ago, but after a time after a few moments doubting myself, be like, okay, so maybe I didn't create it for real. Until I checked my book and then I realized that I actually created it. Wow, mother effing up top. So, no more gibberish. This series is actually based on this a thing of Buddhism. I'm not so sure if Christianity have this kind of thing, but basically we have afterlives. Like you die, but then you got reincarnated into someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else. But here's a special thing though. Things that you do in the present life will affect your afterlife. For example, maybe in this life I'm a killer, then in the next life I will be the one who's being killed. Simple like that. And there are some rules about it, like I don't remember it clearly, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's things like your parents are someone you met like 11 lives ago, your best friend is someone who you met 5 lives ago, your crush is someone who has a crush on you 3 lives ago. I don't know, I didn't remember it clearly. I don't usually read books about Buddhism, sorry. And of course, that's how I come up with this idea. So basically, you know me, I just love connecting two unrelated stories together. So basically, this is like a dual stories, like a story with two characters with their own two stories happening in two different timelines. One says in maybe about the 1920s or 1910s, I don't know, during that era, and one says in the modern time. One character but with two totally different personality in their true life, because like I mentioned before, things you do in your past life will affect your afterlife. And I'm not saying that you'll be completely different or anything, but there will be changes. And 100 years is not like a short time or anything. It's a pretty long time, you know. So of course, in 1910s or maybe 1920s, the main character would be maybe a duchess or maybe a daughter of a really powerful baron or baroness or anything. I don't know. Let's just say that she has a really high positions, and she is someone who hates being a lady all the time. You know, that basic cliche character that just loves to break the rules all the time, and instead of being ladylike, she's tomboyish, and she hates doing all those weird traditions that are supposed to be ladylike, and likes activities that normally boys would like horse riding, sword fighting, hitting on girls. I don't know, I just like the idea of it. And of course, the main character of the present time will be someone who's totally different, an obedient and soft, and let's just say someone like me, but more creepy. Not that way. Basically, the main character in the modern time will be me, but not with this kind of personality, but Not with the 4D character that I have. She would just be a basic 1D person. I'm sorry, but that's like the easiest way to build a character, in my opinion, okay? And that's not the only character that who have two versions in two timeline. Every single character in the two stories will have the equivalent in different timeline, and they will also have kind of different features. And you're thinking, so basically a slice of life kind of thing? No, that's not the reason why I created it. In fact, the idea of it come from a single song called Brother Louie from... Which group was it? It was the same group that came up with You're My Heart, You're My Soul, but I forgot his name. Modern something. A verb with an ing, but I forgot what type of verb it was. Sorry, I'm sorry. But I don't know why, it was totally irrelevant, but listening to Brother Louie, I came up with an entire idea for this series. Yep, totally irrelevant. Well, anyway, the main idea of this series is to show the problem of the past and the problem of nowadays. Like, for example, equality. Yeah, like I'm not saying that feminism is a good thing, but some people are using it in a really bad way and creating like a really bad image for feminism. And I feel like some feminists nowadays, are you really feminist? Let's not dig into that problem, okay? Not only I will be covering problems about equality in genders, LGBT included, I will also be covering problems that involve the governments, or in the past they're called the royalties. It will involve problems about greed. In the past, it would be fighting each other for the throne. In the present, fighting each other for the CEO, or maybe trick other people into giving you the CEO position. I don't know. So many things you can come up when it comes to greediness in the politicians. You know that. And there will be so many other problems. Like I won't just be covering like the royalties in the past. I will also be covering the poor's problem, and the same goes with the presents. Don't worry, I don't seem to be covering every single problem. Believe me, I've come up with a lot. I was surprised of how detailed I actually listed, but I couldn't tell you guys because you would judge the hell out of me. Even though I already told you guys my opinion on feminism. Wow, great job thing done. Anyway, that's the basics of the series, and the true and the thing that I was trying to get out of the series and try to show to the audience, if I ever got to turn the series into a real life thing, is the fact that 100 years human did evolve, but did we actually evolve? Like some problems are basically still the same. It's just portrayed in a different way, okay? Like we need to actually do something when it comes to all these politicians and equality. And okay, I will stop talking. And racism too. Racism is a big thing. And also some weird fetishes I found during the history time. Like literally why in the past it is so fucked up. Why? And I'm not saying that the present is like less fucked up or anything. It's the same. Okay? So that is my series. You might think that it is uninteresting because it is. Like, I don't know why, but I came up with good ideas. When it comes to developing it, I suck. I think that's the nature of me. I came up with cool things, but in order to develop them, wow, I shouldn't be the one that you trust. Thank you. And the last video is coming up after I take like some gulps of water because I'm thirsty as hell. Not thirsty for attention though.